Where does Russ rank among the best quarterbacks in an absolutely loaded AFC West?
Me personally, third.
Ooh. I put Russell Wilson fourth out of that group. I go Patrick Mahomes, I go Justin Herbert.
They all can play.
That the Broncos went from having the fourth best quarterback in the division to the third best quarterback in the division. A guy coming off the worst season of his career.
Last or second to last.
Third down and goal from the 9. Payton, empty backfield, three-man rush. He bounces around and throws. DT is there. Are they going to say touchdown? Touchdown! Demaryius Thomas. As Wilson fires downfield. He's got it! Touchdown! In the end zone, and it's recovered by Malik Jackson for the touchdown. It was Vaughn Miller with the strip sack.
Broncos country. What's going on, my peoples? Welcome to another episode of the Broncos Fancast. I'm your host, Aaron Johnson. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about who's better, Russell Wilson or Justin Herbert. The more I watch ESPN and Fox Sports and all of the other NFL shows, I hear them talking about the AFC West, and they always say that the Broncos are going to finish in third place because they have the third best quarterback in the division. Men lie, women lie, but numbers do not. So without further ado, let's get into it. Russell Wilson or Justin Herbert? Who's the better quarterback? So what I want to do is compare Justin Herbert's first two seasons in the NFL to Russell Wilson's last two healthy seasons. Last year was kind of a throwaway season because of injuries and whatnot. So I would like to compare his last two healthy seasons to Justin Herbert's first two and just see where they're at statistically. I want to start by showing their stats without the names attached to them, just so we can get an unbiased look at the analytics between the two to see whose numbers were better. So we'll start with quarterback A. This quarterback threw for 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and had a passer rating of 97.7. In another year, this same quarterback threw for 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, with a passer rating of 98.3. Now, quarterback B. In 1 year, quarterback B throws for 4,212 yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 103.1. In the other year, he throws for 4,110 yards, 31 touchdowns, with 5 interceptions, and a passer rating of 106.3. So if you look at the numbers, quarterback B threw for more touchdown passes, less interceptions, a higher passer rating, and took his team to the playoffs in both years with a record of 23-9. Quarterback A only has more passing yards and has a losing record going 16-17 over those 2 years. And judging by my tone of voice, I'm sure that by now you guys have guessed that quarterback B is Russell Wilson and Justin Herbert is quarterback A. So coming into this, I really believed that Justin Herbert overall was going to have the better passing numbers, even though I thought Russell Wilson was the better quarterback based off just being a winner and leading his team to victory and just having that it factor to know that he's going to be able to take you over the hump to win the game. I did not expect to see Russell Wilson's numbers better than Justin Herbert's. Not only does Russell Wilson have the better statistics, but he's also winning more games. And he led his team to the playoffs, winning the division one of those years. Justin Herbert missed the playoffs both years. So after looking at the stats in total side by side, we already know that Russell Wilson is a more mobile quarterback, but he's also more accurate, has more touchdown passes, has less interceptions, and a much higher passer rating. I think that all of the ESPN analysts are seeing the shiny new object being a 6'5" quarterback with a strong arm.
He's young, he's 6'5", 6'6", with that arm, that throwing capability.
Okay.
But what they're not doing is actual research. It doesn't take much but a few Google clicks to find out this information. Now let's look at the wins. Russell Wilson in 2020 led his team to a 12-4 record, winning the division and going to the playoffs. The year before that, he was 11-5, still leading them to the playoffs. Justin Herbert in 2021 goes 9-8, missing the playoffs. The year before that in 2020 goes 7-9, missing the playoffs. So that leads me to my next point of why I originally took Russell Wilson in the first place, and that's him being a winner. He has that it factor inside that no matter what's going on in the game, he can galvanize the team to believe that they can win the game no matter what. He can get them over the hump, and he usually does. And that's a reason why I'm not going to go and break down game by game basis for Russell Wilson. I think it's pretty worldwide known that Russell Wilson is one of the more clutch quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. With Justin Herbert, I just don't see that there yet. He has a lot of clutch moments, as we saw against the Raiders, fourth down pass after fourth down pass. But we also noticed another thing too. At the end of that game, loss. The end of all these other games are losses. Winning is the thing that Justin Herbert still has yet to prove in this NFL. He's shown that he can make all of the passes. He can pull off miraculous comebacks. But the problem is those comebacks always fall short. Having one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL over the last couple seasons, there's just no reason why the Chargers should have missed the playoffs both seasons. He's had a better roster than Russell Wilson has had over the last 2 seasons. But yet Russell Wilson is still leading his team to the playoffs, even winning the division. And the Chargers just haven't been able to get over the hump. Now, let's take a look at some of the games where I feel like some of these issues have shown themselves and are reasons why they lost these games. Week 8, they played the Pats. They're up 17-16 going into the fourth quarter. They end up losing the game 27-24. Justin Herbert throws a pick 6 in the game, as well as has a 3-and-out during one of the crucial times in the fourth quarter. They end up losing that game. Week 10 against the Vikings, they are down 20-17 going into the fourth quarter, and they end up losing the game 27-20. He does nothing in the fourth quarter other than lead the team to a field goal drive. Other than that, nothing. Week 12 against the quarterbackless Broncos. Going into the fourth quarter, the Broncos are up 14-7, and the final is 28-13. Broncos win. In that fourth quarter, Justin Herbert throws a pick in the end zone, and he also throws a pick 6. Week 15 against the Chiefs. The Chargers are up 14-13 going into the fourth quarter. The final is 34-28. Justin Herbert is looking pretty good throughout the fourth quarter, leading the team to a couple touchdown drives, but in the most crucial time of the game, they end up punting. In a game where you can't do that, where you're in a shootout, touchdown for touchdown every drive, you can't afford to punt, and they end up losing that game. Week 16 against the Texans, a game they just shouldn't have lost in the first place. The Texans are up 17-15 going into the fourth quarter, and the Texans end up winning the game 41-29. Justin Herbert throws a pick 6 with 2 minutes left in the game. Just something you cannot do towards the end of the season when you're fighting for a playoff spot, especially against the Texans, a gimme win. And then in week 18, a game that all of us remember, they're in a tough game against the Raiders. They're down 20-14 going into the fourth quarter. And in overtime, they end up losing 35-32 with Justin Herbert throwing a pick in overtime. Something you just can't afford to do. And he wasn't able to lead them to a victory over the Raiders when it was a do or die situation. Basically, it's a win or go home. And Justin Herbert went home. So after looking at everything, I just don't understand how anybody can take Justin Herbert over Russell Wilson right at this moment. Sure, Justin Herbert can go on and to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But right now in this moment, Russell Wilson is still better. He's got the numbers to prove it and the wins to prove it. So when I hear all of these ESPN and Fox Sports NFL analysts talk about Justin Herbert being better, they're completely speaking out of their asses. Herbert has literally done nothing to show that he's better than Russell Wilson yet. And honestly, the thing that worries me most about Justin Herbert is the fact that he plays for the Chargers. Some of these losses that he took last year weren't completely all on him. It's just something that happens with the Chargers. And I feel like if he plays his entire career there, like Phillip Rivers did for the most part, these charging things are going to continue to happen because that's just what they do. I think that possibly if he was on another team, maybe he would have seen more success and made the playoffs already, but the Chargers always find a way to fuck it up. Another sign of a great quarterback is being able to lead a team from nothingness into a winning organization, which is what we saw Russell Wilson do with the Seattle Seahawks. He took them from being the pits of the NFL into a Super Bowl champion. And to me, that's the biggest question mark with Justin Herbert. He's shown that he can make all the passes and do all the miraculous plays, but can he take the Chargers from being a team who can never get over the hump to being a championship caliber team? They always are ready to go as far as the roster goes, but for whatever reason, it just seems like the charging happens and they can't get over the hump. And Justin Herbert has been there for 2 years and we're still seeing those same things. So unless he can get past that, I just don't see how Justin Herbert can ever be better than the number 3 quarterback in the division. It just feels like everybody's prisoner of the moment because Russell Wilson was hurt last year. So take a look at everything that I presented to you and wake the fuck up. Russell Wilson is still that dude, and he's going to prove it this year even more so because he has the best team he's ever had in his career. So we're only going to see the best Russell Wilson from this point forward.
About or what you want to do in life or where you want to go, you got to be unlimited. Tell them I'm unlimited.
So with all of that being said, it would be nice to see these NFL analysts get their head out of their asses and do their fucking job. So that's all I have for you today, Broncos country. I appreciate you tuning in. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know why you may have some feelings about what I said. And we have one more week until the first game of the season. So Broncos country, you already know what to do. Let's rock.